sign this, Chase?
Yeah, right.
All right. We'll go ahead and get started with the meeting. First on the agenda is we'll do introductions, starting with Idaho Power.
Matt Fuente, the regional designer of Power.
Right, off the city flag wastewater reform.
Scott Murphy, Street and Sanitation Superintendent.
Chase Clark, Fire Marshal, Building Official.
Kristen Lee, water superintendent.
Mr. Miller, Building Department. Adriana Palaio.
Adrian Palaio, Planning and Zoning again.
Wade Gardner.
No idea what we're up to.
Travis Allen, Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Scott Stumble, Mayor.
Grant Anderson, city administrator.
All right. We got Tyler Bean here, where he's wants to improve a parcel or a lot off of Riverton Road right before you get to the overpass along the interstate. You want to give us a concept or an idea what you want to do there?
Yeah, so this parcel, what we're looking to do is split it into 4 different parcels on here. Just under half acre, right around that 0.4 acres each on there that you can see. What we'd like to do is have a private road come off of there. We'd have an easement over that private road in its entirety there. We would need to extend water and sewer up through there. Extending that, we would have, same thing, we'd have easements over that water and sewer main lines, and then just stub off of there with those services for each lot there. That's basically the whole gist of it. We're just trying to figure out some internal one, if it's possible, to what concerns there are with that. I'm not entirely sure where the sewer and water is there. This was the best of our knowledge and best of our ability, so kind of some information about that too is what we're after.
All right. I'm going to start with that.
Yeah, so we've got overhead facilities on the east side of the road there. We would come off of, we would just come up the new private road with our stuff and each stop. Probably just one transformer, maybe a junction box. We probably would obtain our own easement
Okay.
for our facilities down through there. You guys would be able to do that, those charges.
Would you want that on both sides of that private road or just one side?
On whichever lot it's gonna cover. So it was a minor land division, I don't think there's a, we're staying on one lot, and we'll just get an easement to cover that. Anything that would cross one parcel line into another, we can cover. I see that this PUD down there going towards Riverton. We just wouldn't utilize that because we no longer put our facilities with the property lines. You'll be working with Alicia, she's my designer for the area. And I do know you guys have already submitted it, so do you know if you're doing joint trench or gonna have to ask for all measures?
Yeah, I think that was the goal. Yeah, we do joint trench.
Okay, so we have a joint trench coordinator who handles all of that. We'll notify the other utilities that are part of joint trench. It's up to them if they want to get in or not. So, but yeah, and not all utilities are part of it. I don't think CenturyLink is a part of those meetings.
Okay.
When our coordinator reaches out, he can answer some of those questions for you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
I don't have any more. Do you have anything, Kyle?
Okay.
The sewer main line must be in public right of way to be owned by the city, otherwise it's private.
Right.
The sewer main has to have an easement through the property, recorded easement, so that people know it's there.
So, for example, what we show there would be fine, except for that line would now be private, not public, correct?
It would be
And then it wouldn't be a public utility easement, it would just be a private sewer easement then.
yes.
Okay.
Um,
And the only way to get around that would be if we dedicated a road up through there and gave that to the city. And
then it would have to meet the city standards
Yeah.
for a road.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
No two service lines may be connected together. Sewer service lines must be separate to the main. The sewer line is a 60-inch, would require a 60-inch manhole. It's a 36-inch main line.
That existing that runs east-west down there
Yeah.
is 36 inch.
About, if you look at your map, it looks like there's a road where people have been driving. And that white,
Parcel line?
yeah, that's about where the sewer lays.
Oh, okay. So it's a little further south than where I show that manhole.
And I can get you a picture with the
Okay.
location. Or we can mark it and your surveyors can tag it.
Yeah, yeah, when we get further on and that, we'll go there.
Sewer main is about 11 feet deep. The sewer availability fee for each residential unit is $7,000. Stormwater and snow removal must be maintained on site. This is being recorded, it'll be put in your.
Open meeting notes.
Then it was to be uploaded in the open gov.
So you don't have to write everything down.
Chicken scratch.
Any questions for me?
I don't think I have any. That's gonna be a big manhole, big deep manhole, huh? So that manhole would be public, but because it'll be in right away still, but once it hits private, then from then on it'll be private. Gotcha, gotcha.
Nothing else?
You don't require another manhole backflush from.
Oh, there does
Will,
need
yeah,
to be an upstream manhole.
yeah, we'll put an end manhole. Yeah, absolutely.
They have pictured in there.
Yeah.
So for sanitation, we have capacity to supply services to the property. For streets, you'll be required to put curb gutter and sidewalk bordering the property out on the frontage of the road. And
Out on Riverton,
yes,
which part?
on the, just on the frontage of the property bordering. You would need to put, because this is your property here.
This is, but this right here is not
And whose is that?
the years. That's a city.
I know it's this, because you're developing this property, and this is city easement, that you would be required to put a curb gutter and sidewalk along here. And on the entrance into the property, you'd have to have ADA approaches on both sides of the street, because eventually the sidewalk's gonna continue from the development here and connect with that. And there will be a walking path when they redo the bridge. Okay, there's gonna be a walking path on the side of the bridge for them to go over.
Another place this property touches. Easement is right here.
So, but you would need to put a ADA approaches on both sides of this as you're entering into to your development.
I guess I'm a little confused why we're responsible for it on this side and not these guys.
Well, they are gonna do it. They will put just here, they're gonna put the curb and gutter and sidewalk over here. Because this is a road going into your development. It's not going into their development. They're gonna do curb and gutter on their development going into theirs.
Right, but they come this way, so wouldn't they be responsible for this side of the road?
No, because they've done the approaches for their roads going into their development. This is a road specifically to go, private road going into yours.
Right, but we're talking about the upgrade on Riverton, right?
Yeah, and you're gonna enter off of Riverton into your property.
Yeah. Because we're responsible for what we touch on the frontage, correct?
Yeah, and you're gonna have a road, a private road that's gonna be touching the frontage on the river.
The development here only goes, is responsible to there.
So you would be required to put the approach going into your development.
And then, sorry, how far down Riverton? Or is it just this area here?
Because this is all city easement, you would be required to connect to where the bridge is. Because this is the last parcel.
This is the start.
Yeah, so you'll be just required to put curb, gutter, and sidewalk to there.
Around here?
Yes. Because in the when they redo the bridge, they're gonna tie all that sidewalk in to because there's gonna be a walking lane across the bridge. That's all that is.
Okay, so it looks like you have a hydrant that's not too far off from the entry point to the development. And based on distances and use, fire district can utilize that existing hydrant. And so, from a fire standpoint, there wouldn't be a requirement for a hydrant.
Okay.
You do have a turnaround that would be required because of the distance on that road. The turnaround's a little shy. So usually on a hammerhead, we're looking at like 120 feet. And you got 82 listed.
Is that from the International Fire Code?
Yeah, it's in one of the appendices.
Appendices?
I think it's a
D. Yeah.
So we might have to increase that portion of it. But width is great, that's plenty of width for us.
And you're saying the distance clear from Riverton, right? Not just that stretch there from the private road that goes up north-south?
Yeah, we'd measure it from Riverton Road. So the entry point off of Riverton Road, we measure in,
150 from there.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, these are gonna be homes, right?
Home, single family dwellings. Yeah. Yep. And I put 26 on here. Are you, what's your minimum would 24 work?
Oh, yeah. So would be fine. You could go down to, for this, you could go down to 20 if you wanted. For fire access.
For fire access, yeah.
And that's all I got.
And so that fire hydrant that we show there, mostly I did that for flushing dead end because we would need some sort of,
Yeah, and in that case,
but it could be, but maybe it could be
Okay,
a
yeah,
flush hydrant.
yeah.
So, okay. But on a fire standpoint, that's not necessarily needed, right? Is what you're saying?
we wouldn't require it.
Okay, yeah. You wouldn't be sad if it was there, but
Right,
you wouldn't,
We would love to see.
yeah,
it
you wouldn't
here.
require it. Okay.
There won't be more. So. Finished up.
Yeah.
Okay, so for water, water is also required to be the public right of way. So there would not be a city maintained water main going up there.
Okay.
However, the water line goes under the freeway, so you've already got a 20-foot easement, so we can put meter settings off in that easement right on the property lines for the two lots south. You could run your two lines up in that same easement. They just gotta be 10 feet away from your sewer.
Yeah.
From on both
separation.
sides, you can just run those lines up there
Okay,
and to the other houses.
Oh, that's
You've already
great.
got the easement,
yeah.
and then you don't have to install any water main. or
So that water
anything like
is just, do you know if it's north or south of the sewer that's down there?
that.
It's north.
It's north? Okay.
So
Yeah, that's
pretty easy to
great.
connect to, it's just 10-inch water mains. Depending on whether, you'll have to figure out if you need 1 inch or 1.5 connections. I mean, the south one's 1 inch is probably sufficient.
Yeah,
Running that far, I'd look at it, see modern materials is probably not a big deal. That resulted with higher friction pipes, upsizing was usually necessary, but you may not need to do that. I just have your
plumber take a look at that. If you go with 1 inch is 2,614 per connection. When you get into a 1 inch, inch and a half, I don't have that number memorized, but it's gonna be around 8,000. And then if you provide all the material excavation, then we'll come tap it. But we don't provide the materials anymore. So.
Okay.
And then we'll get you a copy of the engineering standards so you can see what materials are required.
Yeah, that's way easier than what we thought.
One more question. Would there be any requirements for a pressurized irrigation system?
So there are. That's just part of the subdivision process. So you have to do a feasibility study and submit all that, then my department evaluates that. If it's not feasible for whatever reason, like we gotta bring a mile's worth of ditch or whatever, we evaluate it, but we don't evaluate what the cost does go into that evaluation. And if we determine that it's just not feasible, then we issue a waiver. But irrigating off the culinary system is restricted. So you want to zero escape as much as possible. Historically, when we issue a waiver, we only install 1 irrigation meter for the entire development. But, nothing, we're flexible. We can always discuss and figure out what works for everybody. So,
Thank you.
that's it.
I don't have anything. I just want to go over a couple of things. I know I've talked to Tyler about this a few times. This area is zoned for rural ranch yet, but if you don't want to maintain your animal rights, we implement the requirements for LDR1. You meet the lot size requirements. I think when you extend that turnaround to the length that Chase requires, you gotta get that frontage that you need on the 2 back lots in your private lane. But
What is that requirement again? Sorry.
the frontage
Yeah,
at 75 foot,
and that's okay coming off of that private street.
yeah, you just gotta have access in there. It's gonna be a private street, so here, we're not gonna require the city specification. So if you used to make a full-on spec city street, that'd be 60 foot.
Yeah.
So that would be easier to get your frontage that way.
Right.
But you got it down to a private access. But yeah, I'd like to see the frontage, that 75-foot frontage on the back lot here and then the one on the southwest corner. Make sure you get that in there. Because you can use the frontage coming in for the front 2 lots and do that pretty easy. Then you say you're gonna do single family dwellings. You know what type of buildings are gonna go in there. Just, are they gonna be manufactured homes or
Stick built.
stick built
Yeah.
on foundation?
Yeah.
I like to hear that. And just follow the setbacks. It looks like you got plenty of room in there for setbacks. It would be hard to, we might have to look in there to determine which lot would be on a corner. Because you're coming in and you're using a hammerhead, because you have different setbacks for corner lots. But they're irregular shapes, so it's kind of hard to say which side of the lot is the intersecting street for that 20-foot setback.
Okay.
And which is the interior one, because they all
Yeah,
come to an end or a corner.
yeah, they're all kind of both.
Yeah, but it looks like, yeah, I got plenty of room for the setback for the rear, or how deep it's supposed to be, or even for a urban ranchette lot too. So that'd be something to keep in mind, that you might have to do 20 down both sides maybe, but you still have a huge lot there to be able to do 20 on a setback from each side if you had to. 30 is the greater setback if you're on the interior lot or the street in front of a primary structure.
So you're saying 20 from that private lane, 20 to 30.
Well, you gotta go from the intersecting street, so
Oh,
it'll be 20 from this side. If you're gonna turn the house this direction, then that would be your front setback. If you're gonna turn the house and face this direction, this would be your front setback here at 30.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you extend that hammerhead out, people will go, oh, that's another driveway access over there. But depending on which way you turn in front of your house, that's where we do the front setback.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind there. Other than that, I think it's a great little development. You were still planning to do the lot line adjustment on the northern property? Yeah. So we need to have that lot line adjustment done first and then apply for the minor subdivision from there. I don't think we got to do any notifications on the lot line adjustment. If you apply both of them at the same time, we'll discharge it the greater of the two. We do have to send out notifications for the minor subdivision, but it only has to go through this council's approval and not through the P and Z or city council.
Yeah.
And we can give you an estimate of how many notices we gotta send out. We'll be closer to that.
Okay.
Deadline is April 28th for the May hearing, I think is on the 25th of May.
So get my applications in April 28th for the May hearing.
Yeah,
On the 25th of May, you said?
I think so.
Somewhere around there.
I know it's the last Tuesday of that month.
16. Okay. I'll be pushing it to get a plat done by 28.
If you don't make that deadline, then we'll just push you to the June one.
June.
But the June one would be the last Tuesday in June as well.
And that would be a May deadline for the June.
Yep. I think that's all I have.
One question I forgot to ask, and I don't know if it's for who it's for streets. For the private road and maybe fire too, does that have to be asphalt or can that be 3/4?
For fire, 3/4, as long as.
It can be gravel.
Yeah, gotta be all weather.
Okay. And where it's private, you don't,
We don't have.
you don't
any-
care. Okay. So that could save some cost there, just doing a gravel drive instead of asphalt.
Imagine you just gotta build it enough to protect your utilities underneath it or down the side, however you're gonna lay them out.
Which for fire is, yeah, okay.
Graham, you got any comments?
No, it's good to see development in that area. Looks like it'll be a nice little subdivision.
Thanks.
Excited for it.
Thanks.
Is, this is the name you wanna go with, Riverton Road, single family?
No, I just.
I kind of like the ring of that one.
If you want to, I don't see anything on the county map that, you gotta come up with a different name, you can't
Yeah.
be close to another name. The county will catch you on that, not me.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any little subdivision, PUD or minor sub anywhere named like that. You'd be the first ones for Riverton Road.
Yeah.
Not even out in the county, I didn't even see one named like Riverton Road.
Do this private street, are we gonna need that to be named for addressing services or how is it
Yeah.
addressed?
Yeah, but it'll be named a lane because it's a private lane that isn't maintained or dedicated.
You guys put the street name sign in. It has to be blue.
Blue instead of green? Yeah.
Rat Feet Lane.
And we'll
What's
have,
that?
Rat Feet Lane.
Rat Fink Lane?
we'll have to give us a couple of suggestions. We can't, so I'd have to look at the official street list and see what is already out there, if it doesn't sound too close to something else too. But it will be definitely a lane, not a road
Okay.
or a street or anything like that.
Mayor, did you have anything?
Oh, good. Any questions for us then?
I don't think I have any more.
All right.
I don't all mine. Do you have any? No, I don't think so.
As you pointed out earlier, all these notes will be available. They'll be on an OpenGov under the site plan meeting application for all these notes. And I give you the deadlines. The fees will have to be calculated based off notifications. Property owners within 300 feet of property in question. It would, so yeah, when you plat this out, probably can use the same plat for the lot line adjustment for the legal description. To get that recorded all at the same time with the county.
Instead of having to do lot line adjustment, record of survey, and then plat.
Yeah, I tried to get it all done with the county, might have.
Yeah.
They're kind of changing some of their processes too. So without their approval, we wouldn't approve it.
Right.
So we kind of go off them. If they approve it, then we're happy. If everybody else is, we're the last to sign the plat. So if someone ain't happy along the way, refuses to sign for whatever reason, we wouldn't sign it. We'd be the last.
Gotcha.
We-
Thought about a fence or trees or something for a sound barrier between the freeway and the property.
Yeah, thinking about trees probably, but still kind of figuring that out. Maybe a fence. Definitely something.
But we'll have to issue a will serve letter. The Southeastern Idaho Health Department will probably require that.
Yeah,
Some of you-
before they sign.
You're not really getting into DEQ territory for approval.
What about private, wouldn't that private main for sewer? I thought all mains had to go to DEQ, but I guess I don't know about private.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Okay, so that
Whether
is
it's private or not, DEQ's got to approve the design of the main and service.
could we look at, with that being pretty deep, could we look at doing what we're doing for water, for sewer also? These two just stub off, but these two potentially having just services go up there, up that easement instead of the main line go up there? Your thoughts on that? I don't know if we can get elevation, but where that's 11 foot deep.
With 11 feet deep, you should be able to get elevation, even if you had a basement. If you wanted to run individual services all the way to the main, as long as they're in a easement to cross somebody else's property, I don't see a reason.
Okay. I think we should look at that because that'll be very cost effective doing that also. And then we don't have to go to DEQ for any main lines.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Good thing that came up. So we can
Yeah.
do that. You'd have to have our will serve letter to apply with DEQ as well. So we dual uses.
Yeah.
Even though it only goes to approval before this council, I still have to take comment at my office for 14 to 21 days. So,
On the plat.
on the minor subdivision
Yeah.
application,
Okay.
not on the lot line adjustment. but on the- So,
Yeah. Sounds
all
good.
right. Well, thank you for coming in. We
Okay.
got another half an hour already.
Okay.
Jumping on the bid on Zoom. So,
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Any more
Thanks.
questions can be found.
Okay.
All right. Next on the agenda is the Maverick at 895 West Bridge with Becca Reeds. Can you hear us online? Well, it sounds like you can hear us, but we can't hear you quite yet.
We're unmuted.
Okay. Heard something. Can you hear us now, or can,
We can hear you. We can hear you.
all right, we can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear us. Okay, we were about to type, but we don't know what's going on because it's showing that we're not muted, and that's about as much as we know without our IT specialized people here. So thank y'all for being patient. I'm Becca Cook Reese, and this is my supervisor, Jen. We are here to represent Maverick on this project.
All right. Were you on earlier to get introductions around the table?
I was not. I apologize. We logged in, but if for some reason it said that somebody had to admit us, and we must have just missed this when we got in. We were already in the mix with other people.
All right, we'll just have them introduce themselves as we go around the table.
Great.
would you like to give us a better idea of your concept for this canopy going over the gas pumps at Maverick?
Sure, what specifically would you like to know? It is a canopy, it's gonna go, we're not planning on expanding the fuel pumps that we currently have. We're looking at making it a slanted canopy. So it will just, ideally, if this is approved, it would just cover the existing pumps that are there. Right now, this is one of our very few stores that doesn't have a canopy, so. We would like to match it on the top with our Maverick branding, which, it's just a very simple, elegant red with white lettering. And yeah, I think that's it. It's kind of hard to elaborate on that, but I'm super happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right. We'll start with Idaho Power. Matt, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Matt Volunteer with Idaho Power, the design leader here at Pocatello. It looks like you guys have all the adequate clearances from the overhead lines around there based on the drawing. So we don't have any issues.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This is Rex Moffett with the wastewater treatment plant.
Hi, Rex.
Nothing from water, wastewater or storm.
Scott Murphy with street department and sanitation.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, how you doing? I have nothing. I just have a question. When you guys are putting in the canopy, are you guys gonna be redoing the concrete?
That is a great question. I have my supervisor here to hopefully weigh in on that.
If there's any additional repairs that need to be made at that time, we will look into definitely doing that.
Okay.
Obviously, we have to put in footings for the canopy, so there will be some demolition that we need to do to get in there, so.
Because the curb or the sidewalk and some curb and gutter spots around the border of your property there, it's the responsibility of the property owner to, and it's it's pretty deteriorated. So I was thinking if you guys are doing concrete work, you might want to redo the sidewalks there.
We're happy to look into that for sure.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
And then we have Chase Clark, building official and fire marshal.
Oh, yeah, Chase, hi, we talked yesterday.
Yes,
On the phone.
yes, good to meet you.
You too.
So on this one, this is pretty cut and dry for me. The only question I have is, as this is a prototype drawing, do you have a design package that's gonna come along with this on the building permit?
Do you mind speaking up just a tad? I didn't fully get everything you said. My apologies.
We're moving my, okay. Is that better?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's like the clouds opened and I hear your voice clearly and thoroughly.
I won't sing, I promise. Yeah, so for this submittal, you got, this is a prototype drawing. Or do you have a design package for this?
So this is actually not a prototype drawing. This is specific to the site.
Okay,
But it is like one of ours, yes. This is like the canopy that we have put elsewhere.
okay, okay. Okay, so this is gonna be what it will be. Okay, and then are you working with an engineer to put a stamp of approval? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we assume that will be required if we build anything.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, usually it is, but I need to mention it just in case, so.
No, definitely, for sure. I think that's very valid.
But yeah, from both building and fire, this looks like it should meet all the specs that I know about. Obviously, I'll do an actual plan review once we get a building permit, but I don't see any issues at this point.
Great, thank you. So this is right now just the concept plan and the elevation sheets that we have submitted. Would we be required to actually create a full site plan, or will this suffice?
No, I think this is fine. It's an existing site. You're not doing a lot of disturbance. It's not like you need civil drawings to run new
Great.
pipes or anything like that. So I think just above ground would be fine.
Great. Great news, thank you.
Yep.
We'll move on to Princeton Lee with water department.
Hey, Princeton.
Hello. So not much with water, other than as you're bringing construction equipment in, the water meter is on Meridian Street near one of the approaches. We just need to make sure that that's not being driven on by the semis and any other work going in there. They're not rated for those weight loads, so they will get broke or damaged. So just want to retain and protect that meter setting over there.
10-4 bus, definitely. I think that makes a lot more sense, so thank you.
Wade Gardner with facilities management.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
I love that. Thank you, Wade. Thank you for passing that, by the way. That's very helpful.
Yeah, I'm Travis Allen. I'm the Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Travis?
I cover all the sign permits. Our sign code says a half a square foot for every linear foot. This printed out the scale on this sheet, so I was able to take measurements for the length and size. You say you're doing 12-inch lettering. So your square footage of your signs for the linear foot of the canopy are within our code. So there's no issues there. We probably do a sign permit with this with building review on it because it's over 7 foot tall.
Great. So would we include this with the building permit, or would it need to be a separate permit?
Review.
for signage?
We could process it with the building permit, yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Mayor, do you have any comments?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, okay. If you have any more questions for us?
I do not personally have any questions for you. Do you? Okay. We just really appreciate y'all. I've got to say, this is the most friendly pre-app meeting I think I've been in. And this is a bigger project than I normally cover. So thank you guys. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
The notes from this meeting will be on your site plan application that you can be able to access through our OpenGov portal.
Okay, great. And so it will just be a one building permit, and you mentioned the site plan application, but we also need to submit that as well.
A sign.
No separate sign permit would be needed. We can process both of these at the same time, because the sign is kind of the structure itself.
Perfect. Okay, great. And then I can just do the submittal just like I did for the interior remodel. I would just do it online through your portal.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you.
All right. Have a good day. We have
Thank
other
you.
meetings to go to, but great working with you. Give us a call if you have any more questions.
Great working for you also. I definitely will. Please know it's the same. If y'all have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I think, on my number, I think that the city has my number, but I am available anytime, anywhere.
We have it on the application for the site plan meeting, or schedule the site plan meeting.
Yes, absolutely. It will definitely be there. So,
Yeah, we got a phone number and an address in Salt Lake, and a Maverick email address.
yes, sir, that's correct. So yes, you have all my contact info. Please do not hesitate to reach out, any of y'all. Really appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for.
Thank y'all. You have a great week.
You too.
See ya.
Okay,